Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking to the Void. I'm your friendly neighborhood host, and today is Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th to those who like Friday the 13th like I do. Um, it's interesting. So, fear of the number 13 is triskaidekaphobia, and I was wondering what the origins of that were, and I actually looked it up just prior to starting recording this because I wanted to talk about it a little bit as just part of today's episode. And so I was like, why are people afraid of the number 13? Like, I understand the whole Friday the 13th thing associated with the horror movie, etc., and that's why it's considered bad luck. But I'm like, but triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13, goes back even farther than that, obviously. So what is the reasoning? And it's interesting because what I found from the University of South Carolina, why they're researching this, I don't know. But this is what Google is saying, or what the University of South Carolina is saying. The number 13 may be associated with some famous but undesirable dinner guests. In Norse mythology, the god Loki was 13th to arrive at a feast in Valhalla, where he tricked another attendee into killing the god Balder. In Christianity, Judas, the apostle who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th guest at the Last Supper. And fun fact, we have that bizarre parallel of Loki and Judas being like the traitors or whatever who end up killing like the paragon of virtue. The reason why there's that parallel is because Norse myths were being written down post Christianization of, Norway and stuff like that. So the myths are told from the perspective of a Christian writing about the mythology, the Norse mythology. So anyway, that's partly why there's that parallel, which I just find really fascinating. But anyway, the actual purpose of this episode is just to give you guys a little update, like life update kind of thing. Because fun fact, I've not really been coming to you live per se. I suppose it never is live because this is all recorded, but I especially have not been coming to you live with all of the recent videos that I've been posting because I recorded them all during the summer and have them scheduled to upload because I anticipated, grad school being a lot and making it harder for me to balance that and YouTube and, the whole rest of my life. But I thought I'd give you a little update. So I was initially planning on doing a whole series on my channel called The Grad School Diaries, but as I've continued more in grad school, I've realized that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, really. I don't know that I'd have anything super exciting to share out of it. I just don't see it being I don't see it being very entertaining, honestly, as a listener. So I figure I'll just give you guys periodic updates, that involve things other than just grad school, but will include bits about grad school. So my experience so far has been really great. Everybody in the program, both professors and peers, are incredibly nice and amazing and so nerdy and just in love with what we're studying, which I would hope they are because it's really hard to get into PT programs. They're extremely competitive. So if you want to be there, like if you are applying, you'd better want to be there, I guess is my point. So that's been really great. So that part of the experience has been good. Honestly, the worst part about it has been my commute because the route that I have to take there is just not the best, but there's not a better way to get there either. It's just kind of, gross rush hour traffic stuff. So that's honestly been the worst part of grad school. It is definitely a lot of work. There's a lot of studying involved, but I've been hearing from, my peers that I guess my experiences are not the same as theirs. So I've heard them saying things like, that undergrad was a breeze for them. They were able to just kind of skate by, memorize, before the test and then just regurgitate everything. Some people didn't even really study. They just reread their notes and that's how they got by. And that is just not how my brain ever worked. And undergrad was far from being, a walk in the park for me. I honestly really struggled a lot. Part of that probably has to do with the pandemic interrupting my education. But I studied regularly. I studied almost every single day. I stayed extremely on top of my classwork, and I don't know, maybe I just had to work harder to achieve the same thing. I don't know that I would have succeeded if I hadn't done things the way that I did. So it was honestly kind of surprising to hear that the transition to grad school has been so difficult for some people, because I'm using just about the same study techniques that I used in undergrad. I've always been strongly a flashcard person, which I think I either have mentioned or will mention in one of the episodes of Scholastic, coming to you soon or possibly already on my channel. And so I'm just continuing to make and use flashcards, and it's been really helpful. I would say one of the main differences is that we are learning actual hands-on skills. As an example, how to transfer a patient from a wheelchair to a bed safely. And that's not something that you can memorize off of a flashcard. That's something that you get better at by doing. Like, you learn how to do it by watching somebody else, and then you just practice it yourself. So there's kind of this balance. But honestly, it's really fascinating to me that I don't really dread studying. I used to dread studying all the time. I used to despise studying all the time in undergrad. But I think because this is all stuff that I'm very passionate about now, the studying just comes easily. I will study, later into the evening than I would like to, per se, I guess, because there's other things that I want to do. But the time just moves faster, it seems, with studying in grad school, I think because there's this enjoyment that I have of the subject. So overall, the start to grad school has been really great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm starting to make some friends there, which has been really nice. And yeah, that's kind of my main updates for that. That's, I would say, the largest thing, or sort of the biggest thing that has happened for me recently. Otherwise, I've just been watching things, which I'm not going to spoil because those will be future episodes of Talking to the Void. But I am definitely planning some new episodes. I have been trying to keep up with reading outside of school as well. The creative writing that I like to do has fallen to the wayside a bit, but I'm planning to pick that back up. And goodness, really, grad school has been most of my life recently. So I don't know what else to add to my life update section. But I do want this to be more than just me rambling about my life, so I figured, why don't I do a live reading, recorded reading that I don't edit, of maybe a Shakespeare play. I'm thinking because it's Friday the 13th, the weather's starting to cool down, we're getting into spooky season, or at least I am mentally in October, I am mentally in spooky mode already. Why don't I read some Macbeth? So, fun fact, I was initially going to do sort of a, if you will, formal audio book or reading, dramatic reading, I guess, of Macbeth. I was going to put that on my channel. I was going to release it in 5 separate videos, one for each act of the play. But then I have a tendency to stumble over my words as much as I practice when I'm reading things, and editing is not very fun. I don't like doing that. So I figured I might do some unofficial releases of things where don't expect it to be a pretty polished audiobook. Just it is the rough audio of me trying to read a Shakespeare play without looking at the text ahead of time. It's kind of like sight reading with music, as an example. So I have the entire thing recorded because I just really enjoyed working on it, but I don't know if I'll ever end up releasing that. But in the event that I don't end up ever releasing that, I will, I guess, read you something today. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to read you. Okay, so I've decided on reading Act 1, Scene 5 of Macbeth. This is going to be a completely dry reading. I haven't looked over the text ahead of time. I am familiar with the play, so there is that. It's not like I'm reading it completely blind. I have been in a production of Macbeth, and I have read through it a minimum of 3 times, I think, so I'm familiar with the work. I've seen multiple adaptations of it because I really, really like it. So needless to say, I'm familiar with it, but as I'm reading, this is just a dry reading. I have not practiced. I'm just going to do my best to act it in the moment, and it could be great, it could be terrible. The point is entertainment, so whether it's great and you are moved by it and you really like it, fantastic, or if it's just hilariously bad because I'm trying to read this immediately in the moment without practicing, hopefully, however it turns out, you'll enjoy it. So, here we go. Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 5. Enter Macbeth's wife, alone, with a letter. Lady Macbeth, reading the letter. They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air into which they vanished. Whiles I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with Hail, King that shalt be. This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dews of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness, to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'dst have, great Glamis, that which cries, thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishest should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. Enter Messenger. What is your tidings? Messenger. The king comes here tonight. Lady Macbeth. Thou art mad to say it. Is not thy master with him, who, were it so, would have informed for preparation? Messenger. So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who, almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message. Lady Macbeth. Give him tending. He brings great news. Messenger exits. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, Hold! Hold! Enter Macbeth. Great Glamis, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter, thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant. Macbeth. My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight. Lady Macbeth. And when goes hence? Macbeth. Tomorrow, as he purposes. Lady Macbeth. Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom. Macbeth. We will speak further. Lady Macbeth. Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me. They exit. So yeah, that's Act 1, Scene 5 of Macbeth. I really like it. Thought it was fitting for Friday the 13th today because of the ominous nature of it. We all know that, at least if you know the play, you know that King Duncan dies because Macbeth and Lady Macbeth go through with murdering him. And then, the rest of the play unfolds. But that's the scene where essentially Lady Macbeth is plotting Duncan's downfall. And I find it very interesting because Macbeth himself, I think, had an inkling that he might kill the king, but I don't think that he was ever prepared to do it, nor would he have, unless Lady Macbeth had said something. I think that it's only because Lady Macbeth had the same idea, that they were on the same page about killing Duncan, that they ended up going through with it. Because it's one thing to think, oh, I'm going to kill this person, but it's another to actually go through with it. And in a very not serious example, somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're like, oh, I hate them. But, most likely you're not going to completely flip out about it. Like, you're just irritated for a second. Um, my point is just that jumping to murder is, um, it's a big leap. They go from 0 to 100 really fast, but I suspect that the play wouldn't have unfolded unless sorry, that's not words. Unless Lady Macbeth said something to Macbeth, which she did, and then they kill Duncan. Sorry for the rambling there. I have a lot of thoughts on this play. In fact, probably enough to do a full episode of Talking to the Void. So maybe you'll end up seeing that in the future. But anyway, I think this is going to be all for today. I just wanted to do something fun and out of the ordinary for Friday the 13th, and hopefully I will keep up the tradition of posting videos on Friday the 13th on this channel just for funsies, and they'll be kind of random like this. They can be life updates. They can be life updates, they can be, random dramatic readings that are, not practiced, anything like that. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you in the next episode of Talking to the Void. Sending you all the love.